I don't know how this wizard does it, but he happened to pull this conference off on the day that ISA released the Madoff Act, which again drives open data for 9 agencies, and it helps us really get momentum when we leave here today. I feel the rounding discussion today is really about the technology's there. We need financial reform to help us move that technology and deliver on the promise that open searchable data is here. Earlier today, Craig Clay started this conference as The Future Is Now. We heard from panelists that delivered material very thought-provoking on what they're doing to already move forward with applying searchable data to these models. We heard from our European partners today as the European market goes to drive capital markets and their ability to incorporate XBRL. We spoke to Roy about the UK and their migration. It's not a burden. Applying standards is not a burden. This panel spoke about unburdening the financial regulation life cycle. We need to leave here today with that message. Data standards isn't a burden. It's unburdening the financial regulation reform that we're working with. And everyone in this group, everyone in this room has a stake in that. And so I want to thank everybody for their participation today, for the speakers for their insightful thoughts, and I'll turn it over to Hudson for the final comments.
I have 5 pronouncements, I have 1 prediction, and I have 1 benediction. Pronouncement number 1, we've got to thank our speakers. Who would have thought that in one day we would hear from the SEC, the CFTC, the CFPB, the FDIC, the Fed, the OFR, the OMB, HMRC, and EC. 2 different Daryls, and 3 data managers who are hilarious. So thanks to our speakers. Pronouncement number 2, thanks to our sponsors. If it were not for the companies that support our coalition with their contributions, but much more than that, all the time that they invest, led today by R.R. Donnelly and our other sponsors, we could not be doing this work. If your company is not a member of our coalition, please consider joining. Pronouncement number 3, thanks to our vendors. Much of the food, and especially coffee, that you have enjoyed today comes from the vendors that are located downstairs here at Union Market. Buy local, thanks to them. Pronouncement number 4, thanks to our volunteers. There are so many people who took the day off and came at 6 a.m. this morning to help us pull this conference off. Thanks to them. Not because they're compensated, but because they care about this issue, or more likely they care about us. Either way, we're grateful. Pronouncement number 5, our staff. You ought to know that there are 4 people here who have spent so much more than full time to pull off today. They are our policy associate, Justin Duncan, our development director, Nicholas Jeffress, our communications director, Stephanie Craig, and the head and leader of everything today, our events director, Sarah Joy Hayes. Thank them. Prediction. Time for a prediction. I like to do this at the end of conferences and summits. I predict that the Madoff Transparency Act will move faster than the 3 years the Data Act took. I predict that we will see a Senate bill within 1 month. I predict that we will see a markup in either the House or the Senate by summer. I predict that the Madoff Transparency Act in some form will become law within a year and a half. For those who know about the legislative process, they say, oh, that's so fast. For those who are used to the tech industry, so slow. It's fast. And finally, the benediction, please join us for a drink.